Hi, Sahil.
Hi, Nayantara.
Thank you for having us here.
Welcome to
We're
Max
looking
Towers.
forward to this interview.
Pleasure to have you
It's
here.
nice to go to offices again, huh?
Finally.
So this is Max Tower. It's in Noida. And I remember when it was inaugurated, it was just before the lockdown.
Exactly, and I think talk about timing, right?
Yeah.
6 months before lockdown, we had no idea what was in store for us. But here we are, and would be delighted to show you around.
I would love to have this tour. We want to show our viewers as well, because a lot of the conversation we've of course been having is the relevance of the office. I think it's, 2020, we're wondering if any of us will go back to the office, and that has completely changed. Sahil Vachani, you, Max Ventures, have big plans when it comes to real estate. But let's first begin with commercial real estate, because you're going to be giving us the tour of the Max Tower as well. Tell us a bit about this property first.
So Max Towers was part of a larger development that was supposed to be developed by a local developer. We were actually a client to this, or customer to this development. And unfortunately, what happened with most developments is that the developer could not deliver, and therefore we had to step in. And in 2017, as we decided to get into the real estate business, you remember at that time Max was demerged from, Max Ventures was demerged from the larger Max group. And as we wanted to get into the development business, we came here, we saw the opportunity, got the subdivision of the land on which Max Towers was supposed to be built done, and built Max Towers. I think while that's the hardware part of it, the more interesting part of it is we always wanted to do something with a purpose. And we said that we wanted to reinvent the way offices were, people worked in offices in the National Capital Region to begin with. And we thought this could be a great platform to do that. So we started...
State-of-the-art building.
Absolutely.
So what's the state of the art about this building?
Nayantara, the hardware is only part of it. But more than the hardware is the software of the building, right? We're trying to...
What is the software of a building?
It's a philosophy with which we operate. Yeah. It's a philosophy of saying that, how can the building really mean something to you more than just a proper air conditioning
than just bricks and cement.
And bricks and cement and a good design. So it's about a philosophy of work well. So our objective is that when you come into this building, you're able to truly and genuinely work better than when you can anywhere else. And by the way,
so you're linking productivity if you work in a good real estate space?
I think a good real estate space, properly managed, with an ecosystem that enables you from a convenience, comfort, wellness, and a philosophy perspective that enables you to be physically, emotionally, and mentally in a good place. And I think post-COVID, where we have the option, frankly, to work from home or work from anywhere else, offices have to mean something.
Is there a higher onus now on developers to offer more, just so that people, A, stay in the building and employees keep coming?
I would say it's not about offering more, it's about having a reason why people should come to the office in the first place, right? We've all seen during the COVID period, we could all work from anywhere, frankly, and that worked quite successfully. But why do you come into the office? And therefore, this is why we are curating, like I said, the ecosystem of convenience, comfort, well-being, emotional, physical, mental, to be able to work better, and art, infrastructure. And as you'll see today, we've got an early learning center. We have 7 restaurants.
That's run by your wife, right? Tara, yeah, the power couple, guys. Yeah.
Tara is leading that initiative, and I think it's again very purpose-led in terms of what we're doing in the education space. But this ecosystem we've put together has an early learning space, convenience stores, 7 restaurants, an auditorium, an event space, you name it, right?
Beauty parlor also.
As well.
I saw beauty. It's very important for female employees. I'm telling you that.
Absolutely.
I see this art. Is it your personal collection?
No.
Look at the statue, all of this here.
All of this art is actually a part of the real estate development cost. And we believe it to be an intrinsic to the experience that our
Can I ask a video journalist to actually show the art, because it's actually really something. So this is not yours.
No, this is all by the company.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the company. We believe that this is an investment the company has to make to really be able to create that differentiation that we would like to do.
Okay, so you've done the hardware, you've done the software, now you're in the business of making money. So you're saying you have to offer more, just so that companies keep office space, and companies, employees also want to keep coming to that office space. Did you have to cut down rentals?
Actually, no. I'm very happy to share that we've actually achieved the highest rentals in Noida ever. For the first time in Noida, we touched and started with a 3-digit rental.
Three digits?
Absolutely, in Noida per square foot per month, and that's
So
increased.
that's only one person paying you, or is that the average rent of the building now?
The average rent is actually higher than that. I'm happy to share that our last closed rental is actually 30% higher than the first one that we did in 2019, 2020. So,
One second. So you're saying in 2019, you whatever first client, you charged a certain rent before the pandemic. You're now charging 30% more.
Actually, yes. And the interesting thing is, through the pandemic, our rental increased by about 30% and our occupancy went up to 100%. So you're
one of those bad landlords that didn't agree to force majeure, didn't give any breaks?
I think we had no occupancy when we started. But I think when people realized what they need as an office space post-COVID, I think Max Estates' offerings check the box. So while we're here today, it's not only Max Towers, but Max House Okhla as well got 100% occupancy, and we've
what
been able to...
What clients do you have? Here I know a lot of law firms are there, right?
Exactly. So we have Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas, Khaitan & Co, Yes Bank, we have Kama Ayurveda, we have DBS Bank. So we have a very good set of clients here, and in our Okhla development, we have Samsung, we have Target Corporation, we have DSK Legal. So we have got a very diversified tenant mix and also 100% occupancy.
So I'm going to tell you all an anecdote. So when we came here, and we usually do that before a shoot, we check out the building, where are we going to shoot from. So I told Sahil, show me your office. What did you tell me?
Well, I guess, we don't have an office. I don't have an office in the building. I leased out our own office as well, as you know that.
So basically, he's blushing, you can see that. Basically, the building was in so much demand that the promoter had to give up his own office space.
Yeah. I guess we don't think so much about it, Nayantara, wherein we believe ourselves to be a little bit of a new age real estate business, and our business is to rent office space, and therefore...
so if anyone wants your office, take your office.
Absolutely. And I think it's also about building strategic relationships with customers. We've just entered this business. It's been only 4 years, 5 years. As you know, we spoke in the early days as well. And I think it's very important for us to have very deep relationships with our customers. So we try and do whatever it takes to give them
including giving up their own office.
Our own offices.
To the commitment, new age entrepreneurs in real estate.
Absolutely.
Sahil, where are you going to take us next?
Why don't we show you the auditorium?
Let's go.
Come.
How many more such buildings are coming up?
So this was our flagship development, Max Towers. We've completed our first development in Okhla called Max House Okhla. I don't think you've seen that, but it's with the beautiful red brick. And that's where I was telling you we have 100% occupancy as well. We have a third development coming in Sector 129 in Noida. It's called Max Square. And we've just recently signed a new development in Gurgaon for a total developable area of 1.6 million square feet. And in addition to that, in Okhla, we have a second phase coming as well. So in
totally under construction would be how much?
Totally what we are going to start construction and what is under construction is approximately 5.5 to 6 million square feet. And this we believe will put us as the top 2 or 3 commercial real estate players in the national capital region.
Who will be, there's DLF of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so after DLF, we believe in the office space in the national capital region, it will be Max Estates.
Because I've been to many of DLF's complexes. They don't have like an auditorium. I know you have a mock court. They don't have all of that. So was this something that you were very conscious of, that I've got to give something more than what already exists by a very reputable developer who's been around for decades?
I think we have to build according to the times that we're in, right? And like I was explaining, the times today are more focused around collaboration, around well-being, around productivity. And therefore, a lot of this is centered around that. And you'll see in all of our developments, a common theme that also fits across is connect to nature. as you saw upstairs, we've got a central courtyard open to sky. When we were starting this development, I had a lot of old traditional real estate developers say, Sahil, what are you doing, right? This is the center of the building. How are you just making a courtyard here? You could rent it for retail for 200 rupees a square foot. But I guess the idea for us was that there has to be a connect to nature even within the brick and mortar world that we live in. And that again is part of the well-being philosophy that is actually a deeper purpose with why we are doing real estate. So we're very confident that in all our developments, whether you come here or you see what we're doing at Max Square, and in fact at Max Square in Noida, it's the first development with a 15,000 square feet forest in the heart of the building.
Forest?
We're actually creating a forest in the heart of the building, just as an
like
experience.
Paintings or?
No, actual forest. Actual forest in the central courtyard of the building.
What trees?
A lot of natural, all-weather trees, and a lot of it's more an experience, with a little river, with a little water body, a lot of planting, ability for people to walk, soothing music, and all of that in Max Square at a $1 a square foot rent, right, which is the India average. So the idea is to up the game in terms of what we are offering, but more importantly to connect that to what the occupiers of today need.
New philosophy to real estate, because like you said, it's about monetizing every little bit of space that you have.
I think it's about creating a consumer experience and putting the consumer at the center of what we are trying to do. So real estate for 20 years ago was built, was around, well, let's build it and it'll sell, or let's build it and the price will go up. Today, we've tried to change the paradigm of the way we look at it. We look at it to say that we're going to put the customer at the heart of what we are doing, and what is it that's going to add tremendous value to the customer. And if we are able to solve that problem for the customer, I think it's going to make financial sense for us, as it has through these developments.
Okay, with that, we're going to take a short commercial break, but as we do that, next, after this break, where will you see us? Well, we'll go where Sahil usually eats lunch, because he doesn't have an office. So show us that place. Huh?
Absolutely, look forward.
Welcome back. I'm Nayantara Ryan. You're watching this ET Now special with Sahil Vachani, the MD and CEO of Max Ventures. Today we've come to Max Towers in Noida. He's told us his philosophy: can't monetize every space. There has to be hardware and software in a building. He's given up his own office space because so much in demand. And Sahil, a lot of that is also, if I may, bring that out, is being reflected in the stock price. It's a thumbs up. When COVID started, your stock price was what, around 28 rupees?
Around that, yes.
Now it's 120 plus?
That's correct.
Yeah? How often do you check your stock price, and how do you justify this kind of such a fast, because the building was ready when the pandemic started?
Yeah, I think, Nayantara, we are very focused on emerging as the top 2 real estate players in the national capital region. Extremely focused on the geography, which is Delhi NCR, extremely focused on 2 asset classes, commercial and residential. And frankly, we are still a very, very small market cap company.
Yeah.
So we think that there's a long way to go. We're very conscious from a long-term perspective, from a long-term perspective for the share price. But and on a day-to-day basis, we believe that if we do the right thing, day in and day out, we'll get the right outcome.
How often do you check your stock price?
Not on a daily basis.
You don't check it daily?
Not every day.
So you check it like there's a particular, are you superstitious? Do you check it on a certain day of the week?
I'm not superstitious, but I think with all of what's going on, frankly, in our lives, with the growth that we are doing, with the new projects that we've signed up, with the scale that we have, with the developments that we're doing, we're quite a full house in terms of a full day. So yeah, I think the objective and ideology, like I said, is very focused on the long term. It's focused on creating long-term value, and I guess, like I shared with you, we're a very small market cap company.
No,
today.
I get that. Now the point also is that we started to see the revival of the real estate market after almost a decade, right? You're seeing some of the gains for that for yourself in the commercial market. Now when you start buying land, you'll get approvals, then architects will come in, then build blueprint. I mean, what I'm trying to get at is that many of your buildings may not be ready for what? How many more years?
No, so if you look at our portfolio, Nayantara, Max Towers is what we call in our language a core asset, which is a rent yielding.
Which is where we are right now.
Where we are today. We have our first phase in Okla, which is called Max House, which is also 100% leased and rent yielding for us. We have our third development, Max Square, which is in Noida sector 129, which is
You already told us all this.
which is
ready.
anticipated to be ready. So if you look at our portfolio, we will have close to 1.5 million square feet of rent yielding assets, and we'll have close to about 3.5 million square feet of commercial development, commercial buildings under development.
What about residential?
We have announced our entry into the residential segment. Our first project is in sector 128 in Noida. It's a beautiful 10-acre parcel, very low density, with about 1 million square feet of residential development that we are anticipating to launch next year as well.
So you will do it all in this cycle, this boom cycle that we're seeing for real estate.
I think more importantly than that, for us, our aspiration is to do 1 million square feet of residential and 1 million square feet of commercial a year. If you look at the depth of the market, even during the COVID years, this translates into not a very large market share per se. So we believe that what we are trying to build is through the various cycles for more than one reason. Firstly, we believe that the scale that we're doing is extremely palatable and manageable, and the market has depth. Even without assuming the growth that the market is anticipated to have, we still believe that there is enough depth for 1 million square feet of residential and 1 million square feet of office a year. Secondly, the way we've structured ourselves is extremely important. As you will recall, in 2018, we did a rights issue of 450 crores. We did a preferential allotment of about 200 crores, and we sold 49% of the then packaging business to Topan for close to 200 crores. So we raised about 800 odd crores in that
So you're
first
well
tranche.
capitalized.
That was only in 2018. But in addition to that, earlier this year, as you're aware, we sold the residual interest in our packaging business
Correct.
to raise about 650 further crores of equity. So if you look at our journey in about 4.5-5 years, we've already raised about 1,500 crores of pure equity. In addition to that, we've partnered with New York Life Insurance Company, who not only own 23% at the
In the
listed
company, yeah.
level, but also have partnered with us at a co-investment level in every commercial project.
So will they continue to do that?
Absolutely. So our hope and intention together is that they will continue to do that. Their experience with us has been very positive so far.
But if you've raised 1,600 crores of equity, sorry for the interjection, are you done?
I think real estate is a very capital intensive business. We will continue to look at recycling a lot of the equity that we have raised in times to come as the time is correct. Today we're in the phase of deploying what we have recently raised from the exit of our packaging business. So I think the way to look at it is that we are very strongly capitalized. Our debt to equity ratio is sub 0.2.
Sub-zero, yeah.
It's almost net debt. We are almost net debt zero. So we have a lot of headroom to grow, and be able to not only recycle the capital, but as we continue to scale, we believe opportunities will open us for us of other forms of
Will you
capital
go outside
partnership.
the NCR?
Not in the near future.
What is
Nayantara.
near future?
I think for the next 4 to 5 years, we are very focused on the National Capital Region. Why? Because just step back and look at it. There are 25 odd million people, give or take, in the larger, greater NCR region. And if you look at this size of a market anywhere in the world, you have at least more than 5, 6, 7 developers who dominate that market. We believe there's a space for us to do that in the National Capital Region, firstly. And secondly, my personal belief is that real estate is a very involvement intensive business. You have to be at the scene of the crime every day. And thirdly, we are just starting off in this journey, right? So we are going through a learning curve. There's a lot that we are learning. And therefore, to do it in a geography that we are present in is actually the logical thing to do, and to try and achieve some sort of a leadership status here, both in the commercial
So what
and
will your
residential
strategy
space.
be? Are you going to take part in, let's say, when the government auctions land in Noida? Will you continue with this strategy where you will find distressed assets?
I think land bank, because we don't have a traditional land bank,
Yeah. That puts you at a disadvantage, right?
that is our disadvantage. But so far we've proven that we have been able to acquire land through interesting opportunities, some through the distressed route, some not through the distressed route.
NCLT?
Some of them through the NCLT process, but some also on market, so to speak. So we would continue to evaluate all opportunities available for us to acquire land, because, like I said, we don't have a land bank. So we would not like to restrict ourselves to only one avenue of trying to get land, but to try and acquire land banks through all means, but also, I would add, not only acquire outright land banks, but also partner. We believe that as the Max Group and as Max Estates, we do know how to partner well, and we'd be very keen.
Well, that is Mr. Aniljeet Singh's forte, right?
Absolutely, and we've done that, as you know, over 4 decades across all partners. So we will continue to grow our real estate footprint, not only through outright acquisitions, through the distress asset, NCLT or on-market route, but also through joint development agreements that we would look to do for the residential business moving forward.
And residential will also be national capital region.
Absolutely, in
Now
Delhi, Noida and Gurgaon.
The consumer behavior has started changing. From small cars, Indians have started taking to SUVs. The pandemic made us all appreciate space a lot more. There was a call for larger houses because everybody was living together. Is that still the way it is, and is that the space you want to be in? Premium, luxury?
So our philosophy is very deeply to try and uplift the lives of people who either work in our developments or live in our developments. And you've seen how we've tried to do that in the office space, right? With a combination of art, nature, amenities, cafe, hardware, community building, the facilities that we've provided. In the same way, we want to do that for the residential space as well. Not very different in a sense, while here we follow the work well philosophy, in the residential space we'd like to follow what we call the live well philosophy.
So will your work well and live well be together?
Not always, not always. I think there could be synergies between both the philosophies, but I think what residential developments take are actually very different to office developments. You need a little bit more quiet, you need a little bit more privacy, you need a little bit more nature, security, comfort in a residential space, and the metrics of some of these are very different in the live well philosophy as compared to the work well or the office space. So we will try and adopt that even for the residential communities.
When will you launch?
So next year we've announced that we will launch Nayantara, our residential development in Noida. Like I said, it's a 10-acre piece of land on which actually we're only going to develop on only 3 odd acres. So
7 acres, what, a green belt?
Pure green and forest in a sense. So really connect.
So no clubhouse?
Of course, a huge clubhouse as well, and the entire set of amenities will be there. What I'm trying to say is that the ecosystem that we will provide will have everything that you want from a convenience, comfort, luxury, hospitality, and more importantly, well-being perspective in an ecosystem that enables you to connect to nature. So our pricing is going to be a little premium to what Noida has seen in the recent past, but also we believe very affordable, and again, value for money for the kind of product that we offer, as you see.
But Sahil, the thing is, because it's Noida, and we're talking days after the big demolition, which we all saw, right, and what happened in Noida, the property market is still hurting, bruised, recovering from a trust deficit that took place from a whole bunch of projects which never came up or were like horribly delayed, where people have lost so much money. How are you going to fight that? Because now people say we'll buy a ready-made. We don't want to get into waiting.
I think the key you said is trust. And I think the Max brand stands for a huge amount of trust in the National Capital Region. In addition to that, we have now developed a track record that we've done Max Towers, Max Square, Max House.
But residential you haven't.
But in office, and the third aspect of validating that trust is a balance sheet that we have, right? So that enables us to have the strength to continue to develop the projects that we have, and more importantly, the land that we've bought are fully paid lands. So there are no dues on these lands of Noida Authority or other authorities per se. So we've been very selective in how we've not only chosen the land parcels, and also if you look at our first development, we're talking about 220 units, right? That we have to sell in the first development. If you look at the velocity that some of the recent launches that have happened in Noida, they've sold 500 to 600 units.
Which are more expensive as well.
On launch. So if you factor that in, I think the scale of what we're looking to do, we believe that the market very easily has the ability and the depth to absorb what we are bringing to the market in times to come. And in a way, we are doing it, I believe, in a very calculated way. So as I told you, our entire footprint and strategy of 1 million square feet of residential a year and 1 million square feet of commercial a year spread across Noida and Gurgaon, we definitely believe that the market already has very huge depth to not only absorb that at a macro level, but also with the differentiation that our product will offer, as you've seen here in other developments.
So
and
I've
on
got
top of that, the trust that the Max brand promises and that we have always
so if
delivered
I've got
in
the
the past.
strategy right, you'll do commercial and residential in National Capital Region for the next 4 years or so, make a big name for yourself that you're hoping to do, and then go elsewhere. So for now, you'll miss out the tier 2, tier 3, Bengaluru boom.
Absolutely. I think we are very clear what our focus is, and we believe that if we can deliver what we are intending to do in the National Capital Region, there's a huge value creation opportunity, not only for all our shareholders, but I would say more importantly for all our stakeholders, the community at large, the people who live and work in our developments, the supply chain. So we are looking at it holistically, and sustainability in a sense, and ESG, the philosophy of ESG is a very core of our being. So it's about creating value creating value to all stakeholders, and not just trying to encash short-term or mid-term boom. And I believe that if we can do this right, which I'm very confident that we will, with the focus, with the balance sheet, with the product differentiation, with the trust and credibility that we have, that after 4.5, 5 years, we will have many more opportunities that will open us as well. And as you and me have discussed offline, Nayantara, history is a great teacher, right? So we have to learn from the mistakes that have happened in real estate in the past. So one of the key things is to grow in a very balanced and structured manner is what we are trying to do.
So here's wishing you all the
Thank you,
very
Nayantara.
best, and hopefully the next interview we'll do is from the residential project where 7 acres is for a forest and 3 acres is for the construction.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll convince you to buy one there as well.